All right, welcome everyone to another fantastic episode of Diz Debate. We are so happy to be here. This is a Disney podcast made by Disney fans like me, for Disney fans, like all the wonderful people with us today. And we are so excited to talk about today's topic and to get into it. But before we do, we have a little bit of news. We do our little bit of news segment. Before we do that, we're going to get to know some people and who's with us. Sophie, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, thanks.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a busy weekend, so I'm glad it's Sunday night and I get to sit and just talk Disney for a bit.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good part of my week as well. Now, I haven't done a podcast with you, Liz. I know you've been on the podcast before, but just for me and anyone else, where can we find you on social media? What handles can we follow?
My handle is Rockin5Kids and it's on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Fantastic. Well, everyone go be sure to follow her. I spent some time talking with her before the podcast. She's a lovely person, so you should go follow her. And Dean, how are you doing today, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. Did a bottomless brunch yesterday, and the hangover is kind of not there. So yeah, I'm doing good.
Excellent. And he is rocking for our watchers today. You may notice that Dean is rocking some official Diz Debate merch. Fantastic. We are moving up in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. And then for everyone, I haven't given my handle in a while, so I'll just say I'm Disneyland Man's Instapics. You can go follow me for my silly little corner of the internet where I put all my Disney pictures. But we're glad to have you all here. Before we get in, we're just going to talk about some news that has been happening this week, and Sophie's actually got some things to tell us about this week's news.
So this week's news is about Comic Con. So if anyone is like me and obsessed with Marvel and Comic Con, you'll have seen all the news. So basically Marvel, I think it was last night, they announced a new film. Well, three new films, I think. Well, several. One of them is Ghostface, which has got Ryan Gosling in, which is very exciting because I think this is Ryan Gosling's like first time in the MCU, which he seems to be in everything right now. So Star Wars and now Marvel, which is pretty good. And they've announced a new Black Panther. I can't remember the guy's name, but Black Panther 3 is coming in 2028, I believe, which is exciting. And there was just more Doomsday news. It's massive. There's everyone is in it, literally everyone. Even Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool has just been announced, which is I've not watched any of those films, so I need to catch up on that. But it's very exciting, and I can't wait to watch Doomsday. It's amazing.
That does it's slowly but surely building into something really big. I knew we all
Yeah,
knew it was going to be huge, but they've really been going at it. I'm glad to see that Disney's marketing team still knows how to market a film because they seem to have been on and off
yeah.
about that recently, and this is one they've been really hitting hard. Maybe the whole budget's been going to Doomsday, and that's why. Do we have any more news before we get going? Anyone else want to share anything?
They've
That
announced a
oh
new series, haven't they, for Disney Plus? Another kind of Imagineering series. Can't remember the name, but iWorks are doing another one, which is really exciting. Might find out a bit more at D23 about that, I guess.
yeah, I
Um,
agree, and I hope this one is more serious than the ones we've had before. Like I like the Imagineering ones that we've had, but there's been some series that are really documentary style, and then some that are just like these silly kind of promo-esque kind of things, and I'm much more about the documentary one, so I'm hoping that's what this one leans towards. Especially as they dive into like new attractions, that'll be really cool. But either way, more Imagineering stuff. I'm always in. I'll watch it. Sold. Um, but if no one else has any more news, we're going to move on to our topic today, which is Moana, all things Moana,
Yay.
um, with the recent release of the new live action, which I think Liz has seen, correct?
I have. Yeah.
Fantastic, and we will get your report on that coming up pretty soon. But we just kind of to talk about that film and kind of what it's doing, like how that's kind of affecting the film industry and all these live actions have been, and then what our expectations are kind of moving forward and how the film actually was. So before we dive into that, we want to talk about the original movie, the animated movies of Moana, and what we think and kind of how they went and how they went over. And I just want to say initially they went over well. I only have heard good things about those. I don't know many people who dislike those.
I think the first film especially was quite different. It was touching on topics they hadn't necessarily gone to before. And I especially like the fact that Moana, although female, that wasn't the point of it. It was like she had all of this responsibility to be the next chief. Male or female, that didn't matter actually. So it's always good to have a strong female role, but it was quite nice how it was just it was the dilemma of the what she had obligations against her wishes, which was interesting.
Yeah, I think it was quite refreshing, sorry, to see a different like story, because we're used to Disney being like princesses, they find their prince, happily ever after, all of that. And this was something different. It wasn't about her finding a love interest, it was about her finding herself and like self discovery and, like you said, finding like her dream and stuff, and just kind of escaping like what she was kind of brought up to be set in like a certain role, and she kind of escaped that and expanded that. And it's just quite a refreshing thing to see, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Is it actually the first animated princess movie without a love interest? I think it is, isn't it? Really, other than kind of Frozen, but even then, Anna was matched up with Prince
Yeah.
Hans.
I think so.
Was Brave? I haven't seen Brave in a long time. Did she have a
Okay,
love
yeah.
interest?
Yeah.
But maybe
No.
She didn't.
yeah.
There was the pressure of having that, wasn't there? I suppose in that, you know, they were always trying to set her up with people. So yeah,
Yeah, that's true. I just didn't. Yeah, and that makes sense for what that movie was about. But I just couldn't remember if she actually ended up taking one or not. So that makes sense. But maybe even if we're forgetting one or two more, they're rare. Like Point Stands, they're rare, and this one's definitely, I think, the newest one. So
Yeah, I think she's one of the. Is she the most recent princess? Maybe. I think Raya was maybe more recent,
and then
actually.
the
Yeah.
princess from Wish as well. Is she? Well,
Yeah.
not that anyone talks about her because that movie was like kind of slid right under everyone's radar. But I think that if you want to
It's
get technical,
good.
I never saw it, so I can't say. But
Shame on you.
I know Dean is appalled at my movie watching and not watching, which is fair. I just don't. I'm just not huge into the movies. But yeah, I agree. I've also heard a few people talk to me about how Moana had like realistic like body proportions for a princess, and so it wasn't like this, super tight animated hourglass figure. It was more of a regular body type, which I think was nice and good for a lot of young girls who watch all these movies. And so I've heard that from a lot of people. I was glad to see that as well. I also thought, I think something from Moana, especially from Moana, that we took was the soundtrack. I think everybody loves the soundtrack, which I don't blame. It's really good. It's quite fantastic. There was a couple of viral songs, there always is, but You're Welcome was definitely one of the bigger tracks to come from that, and everyone was singing that, I remember. Yeah, those would be my takeaways from the first movie and into the second one. I remember the second one not hitting as well as the first one did, which I don't really know why, but I do remember that.
Um, that says it all really well. So,
It shouldn't have been a movie, the second one. It was made for a TV series, and they
Yeah.
cobbled it together. Different writing team. I'm sorry, I don't rate the second movie at all. A couple of fairly decent songs, but yeah, no, second movie shouldn't have happened. It's not a true sequel. Wait
Yeah,
for
I
part
agree.
3.
I agree with that, because like it just feels like there's no substance to it. It was just kind of like a last minute thought, like, oh, Moana did really well, let's make another film. And it just wasn't needed. They didn't need to round her out as a character, because she was already like pretty well rounded, and I felt like the first film, the way it ended, it was a good ending. That it was like open, anything could happen. You didn't really need to expand on that. And I felt like the songs in the second one, I know it was a different person writing the songs because obviously the first one was Lin-Manuel Miranda, so that's where all the songs were absolute bangers, and the second one wasn't, didn't have that, so you just knew they weren't going to be as good, and you could just hear the difference. It just weren't, it's not as good at all.
And also, the villain was very forgettable in the second one, I think. I don't even remember her name, to be
I
honest.
don't remember the villain. That's bad, isn't it?
It just felt like Moana's story had been told. Why, and they were trying to find something else that she had to now battle. So, yeah, it just didn't land for me.
I know a lot of people who said the same thing. A lot of people, like, I have lots of little siblings-in-law, and they loved Moana, and then they went and saw the second one, and they were just like, okay, like, they don't talk about it like the first one. I know their mom doesn't like it nearly as much, and so it's very fascinating to see how like they had such a great story and a great movie, and they still just like fell off. Like they set up something so awesome, and then. But I think you're right, Liz. Like I think her story was so done well, and it was so like they opened it well and they wrapped it up so nicely, and then they just tried to keep it going, and it just didn't work. Like it wasn't like
No.
Frozen where they had more things they hadn't explored and more stories they had to tell. It was just like, oh, I guess there's more Moana. I didn't know. So no one really knew what to expect.
Did the money, though?
Always does.
Yeah. And actually, my 6-year-old, given a choice, he goes for Moana too. I don't, I don't know why, but yeah, he's been watching that a lot lately. So there's obviously something in it. It's popular with some.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot more monsters in it,
Yeah.
so he goes for that angle, maybe.
Oh, yeah, sure. I can see that. So now that we've kind of covered where we're coming from with Moana and the franchise or the IP, if you want to use Disney speak, what, Liz, how do you think the live action was? We want to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. I don't mind if it's spoiled for me, but I don't know how
Okay.
these other two feel. I don't think they mind, but let's hear it.
I was apprehensive going in because Moana 2, like I say, didn't land for me. But I wanted to see it at the cinema and I absolutely loved it. It was so good. I think it's one of the best live action remakes of all of them. Um, there was only one issue I had with it, and that is that Moana and Maui are almost the same size. Like, he's like half a head taller than her. I think they should have done something in that, some sort of trickery and made him more Gandalf-like and taller and stuff. But other than that, I really liked it. I thought it was so good. Um, when they're singing where you are, having somebody live action sing it, you could really see the conflict in her face, I think, a lot more than you can with animation. So it actually made me really emotional, that song, whereas it doesn't in the animated version. So yeah, where you can really see it in her face that she's fighting this dilemma of the obligation to her family and the community and actually but just wanting to go out to the sea. So that was really good. The songs are pretty much all the same, except there are two songs with tweaks in. I'm going to say tweaks, not changes, tweaks. And actually, I think they make them better. And then after it, I actually played those songs to my 18-year-old who's a musician. And she was like, I got shivers hearing that because she felt that it made the songs even better as well. So, yeah. But overall, I'm very tempted to go back to the cinema to see it again because I think seeing it in the cinema really made the colours were amazing. They were beautiful. Just, it was really done well, I think.
You said it was one of the best live actions. is there any that you'd put above it, or like, and then my follow-up question is like, what are the second and third place? If that's the best one, then what's your ranking there?
I think that's the best one, actually. I did like Beauty and the Beast. I quite like that one, but I like Luke Evans. I think he did a brilliant job as Gaston. So, um, and then the others are all kind of a bit of a muchness to me. So, yeah, I think it has been the best one. I don't know if that's because a couple of people are the same actors in it from the first one. I don't know how much you actually want me to spoil. I mean, obviously The Rock. But there is another one who does a voice who's in it, which I was really pleased about because I really loved them in the first one. But all the other actors are all from the sort of South Pacific area, which is really nice. They've tried to stay really culturally sensitive with that, and I think that was a good thing to do.
So is it, besides the tweaking of a couple of the songs, is it a frame for frame? Like, is it pretty much identical to the original, or did they add and change some scenes?
Not identical.
Okay.
They have, yeah, there's a few sort of changes, but nothing major. I think just things that work better in live action than animation, so they've tweaked little bits here and there.
Some
But
adaptations.
it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty close to the animation.
I think it expands on the story going in. The start, it sets up a lot stronger than what the animated movie does. So you kind of know straight away going in what it's all about and whereabouts you are in it. There is one new song in it, which I think is really, really good. Obviously, they had to put that on to Oscar contention next year, so we'll see if they get something out of that, hopefully. And when it's done in the movie, it's done in the is it Maori language, so it's not sung in English. Whereas on the soundtrack album, the title song, it's sung in English, and they bring back Moana to sing part of it, with the original Moana to sing part of it with that.
I didn't know that was the original Moana that sang part of that. That's nice.
Yeah. If you watch the video on YouTube or whatever, they did a pop video of them recording it. Because she's one of the executive producers of it, isn't she? Her and The Rock. So they had a big kind of hand in it, which is fair enough.
Now that we've conquered all things Moana, we have a couple friends who have seen it. They've been privileged to see it, like Liz, and they have thoughts as well. Our friends, the Foolish Mortals, as well, both seen the movie, and they weren't able to make today's podcast, but we are going to still have their reviews in the podcast. So our good friend Olivia, our awesome co-host, is going to do some editing trickery and get those worked in for us. But we wanted to thank them for being part of the podcast and still wanting to give us their review.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Laszlo. We are the Foolish Mortals, and we went to watch the live-action Moana movie last weekend. We are very, very sorry that we couldn't be there for the recording of the podcast of this episode, but here's our 2 pence.
Before the film came out, I did not have high hopes. Disney is not famous for live actions. But, after seeing the film, everything that I thought wouldn't be good was surprisingly decent.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the film. I think for once Disney has not tried to change the story, and they've done it scene for scene, all the same clothes, all the same songs, and I feel like it has worked out. And she even sounded exactly like Moana in the cartoon.
Yeah, absolutely. She was very, very good, Catherine Lagaya. She was the perfect choice for Moana. In some scenes, I felt like she seemed a little bit awkward when she was just on her own. But she kind of got into it. I think as the shooting was progressing, she got more and more into character, and she was absolutely wonderful in it. And the things that you said that we thought that wouldn't translate well, for example, Maui's tattoos.
Yeah, I was like, how are they going to do tattoos moving on skin? It looks so good, and it's so cute when the little tattoo man jumps into his butt crack.
That is so funny. Yeah. The thing that we don't agree on, but I really liked, is that they didn't try to make the animal characters look absolutely realistic. So they were still a little bit cartoonesque, which I think worked a lot better than if they tried to be completely realistic.
I disagree with that. I thought they were a bit creepy looking, especially Hey Hey.
I really liked him.
I know he's meant to have beady eyes, but it was just the realistic kind of beady eyes were just... but still cartoonish. No, that was like my one complaint with the film.
To me, it just worked absolutely fine. Like, especially when his eyes start twitching and he starts screaming. I think that's so funny.
Well, I liked the film as well that if it's not broken, don't fix it. They did make new songs, and I was worried about that because I heard the new songs before the film come out, but that's just in the end credits. The
And I
movie
really
is all
liked
the
the
same.
song because it was
Yeah.
specifically written by Lin-Manuel Miranda for Auli and Catherine. And I think it was just so wonderful that the two Moanas had this song together. I think it was really, really cute.
Cute, yeah.
The other thing that I really liked in the movie that it didn't try to be more than what the original was. It didn't try to reinvent itself. It didn't try to change the story or characters. It was exactly the same, but it just, because of that, it worked. There was no need to change anything in the original movie. And that's the kind of thing that I really liked in Lilo and Stitch as well. That even though there were some changes, but the story didn't change, the heart of the movie was exactly the same, and it just didn't want to be more than what it's supposed to be.
Another thing that I weren't sure how they were going to do for live action was the water, to like make it realistic, but it's like alive, the water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no spoilers, you've all probably seen the original one.
But it worked. It's so nice. The water is so nicely animated in there, and the special effects in general are great. Like all those characters that I thought that might be dodgy there on live action, they just worked. Tafiti worked absolutely fine. Tekka worked absolutely fine. I really, really enjoyed the animation of the Kakamoras. They were really funny.
Yeah, I was like, how are they going to do that?
And Tamatoa was great as well. And the Shining song was brilliant. I think that whole scene was just so cool.
Because there was like minor changes in the film, but like it was like random jokes thrown in. It was still like the same.
And it was just great. For Star Wars fans like myself, there's a little bit of fun trivia. Now obviously, in the original movie, Moana's father Tui was voiced by Tamora Morrison, who's famous for being Boba Fett. And in the live action movie, the actress Catherine Lagaya, who plays Moana, her real life father, Jay Lagaya, was Captain Taifu on Star Wars. So Moana's father, doesn't matter it's live action or animation, is coming from Star Wars. One thing as well that I was worried about was The Rock. Because when I saw the trailer, I thought, I see the body of Maui, but somehow the face just didn't work. But I really, really warmed up to him.
Yeah.
And now I'm saying as well, because before the movie I said there's so many Polynesian actors who could have done Maui potentially better or looked better for the role. But now I'm just saying, like,
role.
no, it's his role. It has to be The Rock. And he's absolutely perfect
I
in
had
it.
no
Don't
issues
change
with
it.
the wig.
No, absolutely not. If we are talking about the wig, I think the more obvious wig was Moana's.
Was there?
I think so. I don't know, like I'm just maybe used to that every 12 years The Rock is coming out with a role where he's wearing a wig and then it's just perfectly fine. But I think it was a little bit more obvious, Moana's wig. But it was not bad whatsoever. So if you don't know it that it's a wig, you wouldn't tell. But you know, like when you get all this information from before the release of the movie and then you start kind of looking at these nitpicking things, but it made no difference. Like it was just really good. I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah,
All in all, that's our review.
we really enjoyed it. We recommend everyone to watch it, and we're looking forward to seeing this episode coming out to listen to all the other people's opinions.
As someone who's not seen it, I have got a couple of things I want to say. Obviously, I will see it eventually. Maybe I won't pay for it. We'll see it. I'll see it in Disney Plus, but we'll see.
You need
I
to
like
see it in
to
the
think-
cinema. Don't wait for Disney Plus. Honestly,
It's too much money.
It's like slice of sunshine when you come out of that cinema. It's not going to be the same on Disney Plus.
I do like that they've used all the talent is from like South Pacific. It's all like people from that culture, and I just think that's really good because it does promote like their culture. And I know that a lot of the promotions they've had like traditional like dancers and traditional performances as well, which is like you don't really get that for film promotions. So it's good that they're kind of bringing that into it. But do I think it should have been made this early? No, because it felt like it's just a rock vanity project, a lot of it. And it is, because without him, it probably wouldn't have happened this early. And it just felt kind of like he was the main driving force for it. I mean, yeah, it is amazing, but should it have happened this soon? That's probably the question that I've got.
Just gonna say later we're gonna talk about there's a rumored third movie which we don't have confirmed. We don't know if that's true, but there could be. Now, what we talked about with the animated movies, it was kind of hard to keep that story going. So if they did do a third movie, like I'd be interested to see what they did choose to do. But my concern is what Sophie's bringing up is that if they do a third movie, now they've done animation, live action of the first one, third animation, which is just that's a very weird thing to do. So, I mean, not that most people care. They'll just watch, like, give it 10 years and they'll watch all three animations and then watch the live action. That's what you do. But I agree. I feel like it was early because a lot of the movies we see that are live action are like, oh, this was released 10 years ago or 20 or 30 or whatever. And we're like, okay, we're doing a live action. And some of them have been newer, like Tangled. I think if they do go through with that one, that'll be definitely a newer one, a newer age one. But point still stands, like they usually give it some time and like a buffer. And I feel like this one they just kind of went for it, which I'm glad to hear it's good from Liz. I'm glad that she likes it, and I'm glad that she says it's well done. And I'm glad they got a lot of things right about it. So that's good. But I asked myself, why are we making this initially?
I feel that like the live actions of the older films has been good to bring these films to more like recent, more modern audiences. Like kids now weren't kids when Cinderella first came out. Um, Whereas with Moana, there's still a chance that kids would have watched that when that first came out, and now they're seeing the live action. They might be thinking, "Oh, this only just came out in the cinema like a couple of years ago." It's longer than I think. Actually, I can't remember how long ago it was, but it's like this. Yeah, I just feel like it's way too soon. But I'm glad that it is good, and I do really want to see it because like I do love the animated one.
I think the trouble is The Rock is so Maui. It's like he completely made that role his own, and to not have had him in the live action would have been difficult. I don't think it would have got the attention it got without him in it. And he's not looking as young these days. So if they'd have waited 20 years, I think you wouldn't have been able to do it with him at all. So maybe that's why it sort of got pushed through a bit earlier. But yeah.
I think the thing that really screwed them up is pushing that cartoon series, making it into a second film. If they hadn't have done that, we would have had the cartoon series. There wouldn't have been anything at the cinema because it came out in 2016 originally.
Yeah, I was about to say it has been 10 years.
Gap.
Yeah.
And
So
like, if you look at Tangled came out in 2010. And so it's coming out, what was it, next year? So that's going to be 27, so it's like a 17-year gap. I mean, Frozen, the original Frozen came out in 2013, and they're not touching that as a live action as yet. I know we've got 3 more Frozens to come, and then they'll probably start bringing the live action in. So either they maybe should have waited a bit for Moana, or I think without that second push together movie, I think it would have been received a lot better. And then it would have given people a chance to set, because it just seems it's constantly there, which I think has probably got a bit of a pushback from audiences not going.
yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the fact that they did release the second movie recently made me think that it's still an active franchise. And so I was like, okay, like we're still doing this. This is still on our minds as an animation. And so now that they've released the live action, it feels too soon. But I think you're right. If they had made that second movie into a show or into something else and people watched it and they would have loved it probably because it would have been a great show, then this live action would not have caught us so off guard. Because I did the same thing. I looked it up and I was like, that was only, 5-7 years ago? Nope, 2016. November 2016, which is wild. We're going on, pretty soon it'll be 11 years, which is nuts. But, yeah, I agree. I think it's just too fast on the heels of the second animated film. So I think that is throwing a lot of people off. And we actually talked about this. Sophie made a comment, which most people are going to make, which is, I'll just wait for it to get onto Disney Plus, which is a really interesting thing to think about because I think the timing combined with like the lack of anticipation because of Moana 2 is just gonna create a lot of people who do that exact thing. And I'm a guy who loves seeing stuff in the theater, but if I was gonna watch this movie, I'd do the same. I'd wait. Even if like I do not doubt that it's awesome in the theater, but I would have that same thing because going to theater isn't cheap.
I will say that they've just had this happen with the Mandalorian and Grogu film. It did not perform well in the cinema. I think the opening weekend was really good, and it just straight on dived, and they have not made a lot of money from it. And now it's on Disney Plus, and they've not really pushed it. That the fact that it's coming on to Disney Plus, I've seen a couple of things about it. So I think it's really affecting like the performance. Obviously, the big films like your Avengers, that's going to do well, and like the new animated films will do well because people want to go and see that. But things like live action remakes, there's always going to be that risk of people will just wait because they've already seen that film. Even if I know it's a new film, but it's the same story. And I feel like cinema's so expensive now. Like it's like what, like nearly 20 quid sometimes just to go and see a film. And I'm already paying for Disney Plus. So sometimes I'd rather wait and just save that money for like films I'm more excited for. No, everyone, it's
I
different.
think also we've just had Toy Story 5 come out. So I think they're possibly in the same month, pretty much. If you're going to go and take your kids to see a Disney film, you're going to have to choose which one you're going to see. So I can imagine a lot of people would go Toy Story 5 rather than Moana. So the release timing was a bit odd, I
And
think.
Minions. Got
And
Minions out
Minions,
there.
yeah,
Too crowded.
yeah,
Held it back a
definitely.
bit.
It is a
But
busy time.
what I'm hearing from Disney Plus people is they're really, well, Disney in general, they're pleased with Mandalorian's performance because they know it's going to cause a huge swell on Disney Plus subscribers when it opens. And they've seen the viewership for Mandalorian and everything go through the roof since it's come to the cinema. So I think they're looking at it as maybe Moana would do a similar thing once that comes. But again, they've taught, well, COVID really taught people to hang fire. You don't need to go to the cinema. And I think they're still having a job bringing people back with certain movies. Not all, because some movies are huge. When you look at Obsession and things, they're just getting huge viewership. But I think with some of them, it is harder, especially if you've got Disney Plus there.
Yeah, I think I'm such a wait for Disney Plus person. Like I said, it's mainly because of the cost. I'm really selective with what I actually choose to watch in the cinema because I can't justify every month spending the money just to go and watch a film. And even if it means I've got to wait a few more months to see it, like it's cost effective, isn't it? And I can sit in my own house, I can pause it. There's other benefits to Disney Plus, isn't there? But I know people are different, so.
Yeah, and that's a good point to bring up too, because like if you're not seeing it in the theater, like I love seeing movies in the theater. It's one of my favorite things. But yeah, for me and my wife to go see a movie in the theater, it's like $40. And sometimes it's 50 if I buy popcorn there, which I'm done with. It's ridiculous. $13 for popcorn. But I hear what you're yeah, dude, I know. That's why I sneak my own snacks, and I actually brought like a whole big like trail mix. Those like ones that you get at Costco, the big containers. I hid it in a blanket, and I was just snacking on that. People were looking at me. It was awesome. But I do agree. And going back to what Dean said about Mandalorian and Grogu, I also heard mixed reviews about that movie where I was like, some people loved it, Star Wars people loved it, but like a lot of people thought it could just be another season, like same kind of vibe as Moana 2. But I can see why Disney calls it a success because they almost doubled their production budget, right? I mean, it was a 165 million budget and they made 344.8 million off of that. So, I mean, I'd call it a success, not a huge one. I mean, 10 of those dollars would change my life, let alone 115 million of them, right? But I find that it's very fascinating. As I've looked through the news, though, I saw this this headline, which is interesting, and it was I've just forgotten it now, but this it was this title called Franchise Fatigue. That's what it was. And I've seen a lot of movies start to suffer from that, especially Marvel movies, as well as Supergirl. We saw that didn't do very well, although it did have high expectations with Superman. That was such a great movie, and it just, how could you match it? And then Moana. Now we're seeing kind of getting released to mixed reviews, but it's still new, so like it'll even out eventually, and I'm sure it'll come out on top because mostly Disney movies do. But very fascinating to see people start to be like, okay, I'm sick of 2s and 3s and remakes. I'm really ready for something new, like say Project Hail Mary or something like that, The Odyssey. People like, I'll spend my money to go see The Odyssey. I would like to see it if I can find a fat IMAX projector near me, which I probably can't. But so it's interesting to see all the sides of who likes this movie, where it's popular, whose audience it's for, all these different kinds of things. But I kind of agree with Liz and Dean that the timing of this release is still odd because we have other kids movies coming out right now, and Toy Story 5 competing with that just sounds like a really bad idea. Like making your audiences compete to see one. I mean, they want to see both, but again, it's expensive.
Can I just say how amazing Grandma Tala is in the movie? She needs to get an Oscar. She is by far the best part of the movie. Brings so much heart. The actress is amazing. What's her name? Let me just find out her name because she's so good. Rena Owen. When you guys watch it, when it comes to Disney Plus, she's going to break your heart. Amazing performance.
I cry at the animated one, so I'll be sobbing at this one as well.
Really glad to hear from people that this is done well, because we've had live actions that just have not been done well. Like, despite the controversy of having a live action at all, like there's just been ones that just weren't good, and it's good to hear that this one is at least done well, and they really did a good job with the casting and the soundtrack and everything. I'm really glad to hear that. That makes me more motivated to watch it. Now, something interesting is that we always bring up on this podcast is how a particular franchise or IP has made it into the parks. And for Moana, very popular. Like, merchandise goes crazy for this movie, yet there is not a huge presence in the parks. Can anyone name me the Moana thing that you can do at any Disney parks? I know Dean knows it, but can anyone else tell me?
If it does.
The Journey of Water with Moana at EPCOT.
Yes. Which is neat, I
The
will
wrong
say.
place, great attraction.
Yeah, great.
Oh, I've got a counter argument for that.
Okay, here we go.
EPCOT.
Hit me with it.
EPCOT, what is it about at the heart? It's about learning, education. And it teaches you something. It teaches you about the journey of water. If you actually read the signs, that is. I just kind of walk through like, oh, this is great. But it's educational, isn't it? It tells you how the water, where it comes from, where it goes. And I think that's great. I think it fits in with Epcot's main goal of educating people. People may disagree. But Dean obviously disagrees.
No, I just you should have gone to Animal Kingdom. But hey.
No, she does not. What's Moana got to do with animals?
Nature. Just Epcot. It's great, but it doesn't fit Epcot.
Yeah, and
Personally.
here's my my counter argument for you, Sophie, with this particular problem. Where that is in Epcot is in Future World, right? Or World Showcase, or not World Showcase, but whatever it is now. It's like something different, but it was Future World, right? And that used to be all these non-IP attractions like the seas, and you had the Land Pavilion, it had Wonders of Life, and it had Universe of Energy. And so there's a lot of people coming to the park that still view it that way, where they're like, okay, this is the part of the park that's kind of Epcot. This is like the boring part of Epcot, and then we're going to the World Showcase, which is different. And so I think to have Moana in there just didn't fit for them, and it doesn't fit for me either. That being said, it's awesome, and I'm not that mad about it because it's so well done. Like, it could have been
Yeah.
worse, and so I'm happy that it's there. There was also a lot more planned for that area originally for Epcot. There was supposed to be some more buildings and some more things, and who knows, maybe there was going to be more IPs mixed in. We're seeing that with Guardians. We've got some big IPs kind of moving in. Nemo's in the seas now, so that's becoming more of a Disney-fied area, which is a whole episode in and of itself, so I won't go into that. But I agree with Dean. It doesn't quite fit, but I also agree with Sophie that it is really well done and it's a great attraction. So on this one, I am split. There's only one other thing that I know of that's a Moana thing, and it's a place in Adventureland and Hong Kong Disneyland. It's just a place to eat. It looks a lot like the Tropical Hideaway in Disneyland. Same kind of deal where it's just a little nook of a corner, and it's just like go sit down, have a cold treat, have some food, some light things. I don't think it's anything super serious, but it looks really good. It looks really fun, and I think the theming's well done. But why isn't there more Moana stuff? Where's my dark ride? Where's my boat ride in Kanto? Boat ride for some reason.
Well, we had to, didn't we? It was on the DAC Blue Sky. We were going to get the Moana boat ride at Animal Kingdom. And then that's now been rumoured for the next phase of Disney Adventure World. So that might be coming
Oh.
there. We'll see maybe D23. But also it's put on the 10-year plan for Tokyo Disneyland when they're in the Adventureland. And it looks like Jungle Cruise is on the way out because they're doing like a farewell event for it at the moment, giving out stickers and photo ops and things.
For what part?
So, Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland.
Okay, thank the heavens.
It was on.
They can take it.
They put a 10-year. They put out a 10-year plan, and they're redoing their Adventureland. So Tiki Room's going, Jungle Cruise is going, Big Thunder Mountain. Well, the back of Big Thunder Mountain, and things. But one of the things they showed is a Moana boat ride, which I don't know whether I'm assuming it's on a track, but it's all themed to Moana. So we'll see if it ends up going there or whether anything comes of it.
I don't think I'll be going to Disneyland again in Tokyo. Let's just say that if they get rid of everything. That's a lie. I was thinking about this though, and I thought, how good would it be in Disney Sea? Because it's literally Disney Sea. Everything is like kind of water related, and I just think it would really fit in. If you've got Mermaid Lagoon, which does seem kind of random, but it does kind of tie in quite well with the whole park. So I think adding Moana would kind of benefit that. And I think they could have even probably added her to Fantasy Springs. That would have been probably quite a refreshing. I know you've got like the characters they've got there is because they're big, the big characters, aren't they? I think they could have done more and added Moana. She's not even in the Springs, which is quite strange because literally everyone else is there. So I feel like that's like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have any more thoughts on where Moana would fit in the parks, or if putting her in Jungle Cruise would work, or anything like that before I say
Well,
other
she's
things?
at our Magic Kingdom. She's rumored to go behind Pirates, possibly taking over Jungle Cruise. So that ride that was planned for Animal Kingdom is still on the table for Magic Kingdom. But whether we'll hear anything about that soon or not. But it's either going to go, they've got space for a hotel behind Pirates. So it's either be planned there or taken over Jungle Cruise area. So,
I think she'd fit in quite well in Magic Kingdom, to be honest. Probably somewhere in Adventureland. I think Animal Kingdom is a bit of a push. That's just for me personally. Because I just feel like all the IPs they keep adding to Animal Kingdom is getting a bit like kind of going away from the whole concept of the park for me. But I do think she'd fit in Adventureland and maybe in like different ones around the world as well. So if she does well in Magic Kingdom, then maybe move her to the others. But I'm excited to see. Hopefully, she goes to like Adventure World though in Paris because that would be. There's a lot of space there, isn't there? And the lake kind of ties it all
Yeah.
in and makes it kind of watery themed. So I think she'd be a good fit for that. She is in the new Princess Cavalcade at
Yeah.
Adventure World. So I don't know if that's hinting because then Raya is also in that. So I don't know if she's going to get anything. Probably not. It just seems kind of a random mixture of characters for that. But I'm glad that they're kind of characters you don't usually see.
Who are the other two in it? So there's four princesses, isn't there?
Rapunzel, and then I don't know the other one. I think it's just
Tiana.
three. Oh, Tiana. Okay. I mean, if she can get a ride, surely Moana can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good in Adventure World. That would fit in quite nicely if you've got it sort of near the Tangled ride and everything. It would go nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. And something we're bringing up a lot here
Sorry.
is how Adventure World and Disneyland Paris are really kind of becoming their own thing, and they're kind of blooming into this new world competitor Disney park. Because for so long they've been so underrated and kind of looked over. And so I think we're watching Adventure World become this really strong park. And I agree. I think Moana would fit well there. I have to admit, Moana, I would put her in. I think it depends on the attraction for Animal Kingdom. Way of Water, 100% Animal Kingdom material. Put it in, especially since we lost so many of the things that were interactive in Dino Land. Like there was a lot of things for the kiddos to do. So I would really like to see something like that come back to Animal Kingdom. But if it was more of an attraction about her rather than her powers or her sidekicks or something, then yeah, I think that should go in Adventureland and in Magic Kingdom. And I don't want to see it, but it would fit there because I think it would fit very nicely and it would flow well. I also think with the expansion of Villains Land and Cars Land there, it would be nice to have something on the other end of that part of the park to go to, and Moana would be a big draw. And we've talked about how we anticipate them announcing something big somewhere else in the park besides Carousel of Progress that will draw people away from Villains Land somehow. Which good luck Disney with that one. Glad I'm not in charge of operations that day. Um, so yeah, I agree. I think this is an underutilized IP, and I'm glad to hear they're announcing more projects and thinking about more projects. Don't touch Jungle Cruise in California. Penalty of death on that one. Now that I've said my piece about that, we are just going to talk about our second to last thing we're going to talk about is how this movie, we're going back to movie and animation and filmmaking, how this is going to affect future animations and future projects, and really what this is going to do because they've released it so close to an animated movie. We've talked about that weird timing, but still something that's interesting. What do we think? I know Dean has thoughts on this kind of thing because he's awesome. What do we think? How's this going to impact future events and future movies?
I, for one, am glad that I think this may have come up before, but I'm glad that they've started shooting Tangled because I think if they hadn't started filming Tangled, it would have been put on pause again. I think it's too late for them to do that now. I think Tangled will be a different beast. I think it will bring more people to the cinema because it's not had a sequel or anything. You've had that like TV series on Disney Plus, but I think Tangled will do the business. I don't think there's anything to worry about with that. I don't know if it's going to affect the upcoming Tiana movie that has been rumored lately, whether that will be put on pause. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I mean, maybe they need to step back from live actions and stop pumping them out so soon. Maybe give it a 2 or 3 year break between each one. But yeah, I don't know. But going back to the original movie, I think it kind of it's Lin-Manuel's first Disney project, wasn't it? Since then, he's done songs for Mary Poppins Returns. He did the amazing soundtrack for Encanto, and what a soundtrack that was. And he's done a couple of other Disney things, hasn't he? Since then, did he do something recent? I'm blanking. I hope he comes back for Moana 3 if we get that, because he did some stunning work. And I think with his type of the songs that he does, the pacing, kind of the semi-rap and things, it really worked with Moana. And yeah, I think he added something new to the mix when he did the soundtrack for it.
I'm just worried about a Moana 3 because I think it'll face the same problems as 2 in what stories are there to tell now. She sort of did her big journey, and unless you're just going to be rehashing that, really. So it's going to have to be very different, I think.
I think that I agree with that. Like, where else are they going to go? There's nowhere else really that they can go with it. But I do want to touch on what you mentioned about Tangled. So I'm very passionate about the Tangled live action because that is my favourite. Rapunzel's my favourite princess. And I've seen pictures so far of the hair and the dress, and it's not cutting it. So either they need to. Have you seen the pictures? It looks like a tangled mess. It's not. It's not giving
I'm
like.
liking
It's just
what I've seen. Like Stabbington Brothers, their costume is
that they
looks
look great.
accurate.
It's just the Rapunzel costume I've got issues with. And I just think it's a lot. It's going to be a lot. I mean, Catherine Hahn as Mother Gothel is like everything, so that will be amazing. I know it'll be good. Well, I hope it'll be good. But I just think there's certain things they need to. I mean, it's a big change, hopefully. But I just think they need to probably slow down these live action remakes because people are going to start to get fed up of them because a lot of them haven't been that great. And how many flops have they got to make until they decide, actually, maybe we should pause this? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking a lot about that principle, and there's like we talked about Mandalorian and Grogu, right? And I think the hype for that movie was so real. Like everyone was so stoked because Mandalorian's such a great part of Star Wars. Like that's something they really got right. And it's such a marketable thing. It's such a cool thing. It's already in the parks. Like it's non-negotiable. It's already there. And I think it felt like it fell short in the box office because it probably did on what they wanted. They probably expected 3 times what their budget was instead of just twice or 4 times, right? And so to us and to the numbers, it does look like it kind of fell short, and it did. But in reality, they're still making millions and millions of dollars on these movies, even if they are a flop. Like I think Snow White was one of the only ones where they really did hurt the brand or like kind of lose out. Like that remake just didn't land at all. But like I think people who love these movies like Tangled, there's enough of a fan base that just love Tangled, like Joe, quoting Joe here because he loves Tangled so much. He'll see it no matter what. Like no matter what he sees in promos, like that's his thing. And I think a lot of people will do the same thing. So even if Disney makes a mid remake, I think they're still going to make their money back and a little more, and that's the goal. So I think as soon as they start being in the hole every movie, I think they're going to keep making them, which is really disappointing because I agree. I think they just need to stop making them and make something special and different and better. But that's a whole nother debate.
I think the rule of thumb when it comes to the move is they have to make triple what it costs to make to make even with it, with all the marketing and everything. So yeah, I don't know whether Moana's gonna hit it, unfortunately.
Yeah, triple.
But we'll see. We still.
Well, and something else that I've noticed with movies now is there's a lot of practical effects, a lot of great actors, but there's also a lot of special effects and a lot of green screening, and that costs money. It costs so much money. And so, especially when your 2 options for filming this movie are fly out to the islands and fly out everyone and all your gear, or make it on green screen, both not cheap options. I think the problem is it's kind of a self-sabotage because you're making a movie that costs more to make initially than, say, another type of movie or another action adventure or whatever, and then add on the fact that audiences are already expecting so much from entertainment and movies in general. So if they fall short in any of these visual ways, people aren't going to love it already. And then you have this recipe for disaster where they've already spent more on production than usual and that they used to, and then they expect it to make more. And they're just it's not going to meet every time. It's just not going to meet. So I'm wondering how that's going to go over the next 10 years. And we will discuss it on Diz Debate in 10 years, hopefully. We'll be here. Thank you, Liz, for being our reporter, our person on the scene to sort of give us the updates. And thanks, Dean and Sophie, for doing your homework on this one and for knowing all the ins and outs and having all the opinions. And I was here to defend EPCOT, as I always am. But everybody, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so much for everyone who listens, or watches. We're so grateful for you, and we're so grateful for your continued support. Please do comment, share ideas, and if you want to get on a podcast, you've got ideas about a topic, please message us. We'd love to have you. We are not picky. We love our friends, but we always want more. So please do come on. But until next time, thank you so much for joining us on Diz Debate, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.